So, can you tell me your name and what part of the STEM field you're part of?
Of course. My name is Erica Dasi, and I am in environmental science, technology, and engineering. It's a very interdisciplinary field, so it encompasses different different subjects, different disciplines.
Okay. So, what does your daily schedule look like?
Right now, my daily schedule varies, but overall, I get up in the morning and I attend my meetings on Zoom. And then afterwards, I go into the lab to work on my dissertation research. So it's my graduate school research that I'll need to graduate um, and earn my PhD. And then just to cultivate some balance between school and life, I work out after I go to the lab. And then I come back and I make a good dinner.
So, you spend a lot of your time and most days of the week at your lab.
Yes, in the lab and also on Zoom meetings. But the majority, I'd have to say 70% in the lab, yes.
So, what kind of things do you do in the lab?
In the lab now, these days, I'm working on a project where I'm trying to treat wastewater that is produced at a landfill. So when it rains, the water from the rain essentially passes through the landfill, and as it moves through the landfill, it picks up specific contaminants. And so this is a concern because as that water moves, it can enter our waterways and pose a risk to human health and also the environment and different aquatic life. And so, what I'm doing at the moment is looking at ways to treat the water where it's produced using natural biological processes that are widespread around us. So, I'm working on a team at my university where we're trying to use plants and different things that are naturally present in the environment to try to address this issue and ensure that the water or the wastewater that's produced at a landfill is treated well before it's released into the environment. I hope that's clear.
Very clear. So,
Okay.
what areas are you looking to do this? Is there a specific area?
Yes. So at my school, the research group that I'm a part of, my advisor is very involved in community research. So essentially, what that means is she works with people in the community to try to improve their water. So we have a local landfill about an hour and a half away from our university where we are partnering with them. And we have a pilot going on currently where we're trying to assess the performance of a water treatment system that we have there in terms of treating some of the polluted water on site.
That's very interesting. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I have to send you some photographs one day.
Okay. So, you're still studying because you're going for your PhD. So, how long were you in school and what did you major in?
Yes. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am an environmental engineering PhD student
Hmm.
at the University of South Florida in Tampa. And I am in my fourth year. I recently advanced to candidacy. So what that means is that I'm essentially up to graduate as soon as I finish my specific research task that I had presented to my advisor. And so I'm in my fourth year, and hopefully I have a year to go before I finish.
Um, so, what will you do after you finish?
That's a great question. Right now, I feel it on my heart that I would like to continue with doing community engaged research. But I also have a passion for traveling. So if I can take my experience with water treatment and water research abroad, that would be amazing if I can do that after I finish. So maybe through a scholarship program like Fulbright or working with a nonprofit organization abroad, doing like a position there, like a year-long research position. I think that would be great.
And you've done those types of things before where you would study in another country, you'd visit other countries to be able to do this. Could
Yeah,
you tell a little bit about that?
of course. So last year around this time, I spent 5 months in Marseille, France, at the Center of French Scientific Research, CNRS. Um, and essentially, I was working with a professor there, and he was using biological and computational tools to study microbial populations. And so the intention that I had with going there is to gain a skill that would allow me to study the microbial community in the water treatment system that I work with in the lab. And essentially, you can think of the water treatment system as a factory. And the goal of my research in France was to be able to pinpoint the hardest workers in the factory so that I can understand how can I create conditions in the factory or in the water treatment system for those hardest working workers to thrive. And essentially, if I have that information, I can use that to enhance or optimize the performance of the water treatment system. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very interesting. So, did you have to get a grant in order to go there and
Yeah,
do your research?
yes. So that research was funded by the Chateaubriand Fellowship, and it is essentially a scholarship that's offered by the US, the French Embassy in the US. And every year they put out an announcement to students throughout the US, welcoming them to submit like proposals, which are essentially essays where you present your research ideas, and the people who are at the organization decide whether they're willing to provide the funds for you to make that research come to life. So I had applied for that scholarship, and I was selected as a recipient.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So, did you go alone or did you go with a group?
I went by myself.
Uh,
Yes.
so, who else did you work with anybody while you were there? Or was it mostly just your own research and you doing it by yourself?
Right. So I worked with my mentor there in France, mainly him, but I did have the opportunity to meet other students and hear about their work. So it was a very welcoming community. But in terms of working, I mainly worked with my professor there and then also my major advisor here in Tampa. So we had some collaboration going on between Tampa and France during that time.
Wow. So, what is your advice for students who want to pursue a similar career path?
Ah, that's a good question. I would have to say I would recommend just getting involved in different science, technology, engineering, math programs where you can get your hands dirty and, well, not necessarily dirty, but like gain the experience of how science is around us, you know? And it not only provides that exposure to the different areas of science, I think that it helps us to be able to learn how to speak about science. And one thing that is very important to me at the end of the day is being able to communicate science in a way that's clear and accessible for everyone so that they can make informed decisions, right? So, in terms of anyone who is interested in science and engineering, um, I know that different high schools have different clubs. Maybe, like, I don't know, at your school, if there's like a robotics club or a programming club. The earlier, the better, you know? Especially with programming, it's like you're learning another language,
Yeah.
and it just takes time to be able to speak the language of science. So, and just have fun, you know, at the end of the day. Have fun with whatever activity that you're doing.
Were there any challenges you faced on your journey?
Oh yes. I'd have to say that in the beginning, um, I I faced some academic challenges in that I found it very difficult to develop a system that would help me do well in school. And so I just didn't know how to prioritize school and life, um, just to create a balance where I could thrive in both. But I think what helped me get through that time was my community and being around people, like having mentors, research mentors to help in guiding me through classes, make sure that I wasn't taking too many classes in a semester, um, and just to share different opportunities for me, especially like summer internships. So I think that in any journey, there's always obstacles, but there's something that can be learned along the way. And oftentimes, those obstacles can not only be applied to our journeys to a STEM career, but I think that we can gain transferable skills that help us thrive in other areas of our lives. So,
I
yeah.
agree. I can imagine that many high school students may have the same problems, that
Yeah.
they find it hard to balance schoolwork and start trying to find a life outside of their schoolwork.
Absolutely. And I'd have to say for that, like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Um, no question is a dumb question. At the end of the day, it's important that you understand what's going on in your classwork. And if that requires gaining some clarification, then go ahead and do it, right?
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for being here and answering our questions.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you for watching today's Professional Council Conference, or PCC. As always, information about our interviewees are in the description below. Click the link to our website to view some of our transcripts. Please note that only PCCs that were responded with documents or PCCs that are short may have transcripts. Follow us on Instagram for other information about volunteer opportunities and fundraisers that we host. Email us for questions, comments, or concerns at studentguidancecommittee@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and see you next time.